Buffalo Bills fans, buckle up, because the front office just proved once again that nobody in the NFL is resting this summer. Just when everybody thought this roster was locked, sealed, and ready to go, the Bills dropped not one, but two surprise signings, and at the same time, one of the biggest names on the free agent market slipped right through their fingers. If you thought training camp was going to be quiet this week, think again. Stick around, because I'm about to break down every single detail of what just went down in Buffalo, and trust me, you don't want to miss the ending. Let's start with the move nobody saw coming. The Buffalo Bills have officially signed defensive back DJ Miller Jr., and if you haven't heard his name yet, you're about to. Miller isn't some unknown project. He's coming off an outstanding season in the UFL with the Columbus Aviators, where he racked up 29 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. That is not a typo. 3 interceptions. That kind of ball production doesn't go unnoticed, and it definitely didn't go unnoticed by NFL scouts, who were reportedly circling him before Buffalo swooped in and won the race to sign him. But here's the thing about Miller's story. It hasn't exactly been a smooth ride to this point. He started his college career at Iowa State before transferring to Kent State, where he closed out his final season with 50 tackles, 1 interception, 3 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. Solid numbers, but not enough to get drafted. Miller actually signed with the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2024 as an undrafted free agent, but he couldn't stick on the roster. Instead of packing it in, he went out and rebuilt his entire value in the UFL, and now, 2 years later, he's got another shot at an NFL roster. That's the kind of underdog story that Bills Mafia loves to rally behind. And here's where it gets even more interesting. To make room for Miller, Buffalo released safety Juan Dale Owens. That's a real signal. The Bills aren't bringing this guy in just to stash him on the practice squad. They're giving him a legitimate opportunity to compete during training camp. Now, does that mean the starting safety spots are suddenly up for grabs? Not exactly. Cole Bishop is still the guy everyone in Buffalo is excited about. After starting all 17 games last season, racking up 85 tackles, 2 sacks, 7 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions, while playing over 90% of the defensive snaps, Bishop has cemented himself as one of the most versatile young safeties in the entire league. Analysts are already talking about him as a potential breakout star, and heading into year 3 of his rookie deal, another big season could set him up for a massive contract extension. Then there's the wild card of the group, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. This is a guy who has legitimate top-tier talent. He's led the entire NFL in interceptions before. But he's also played for 7 different teams in 8 seasons, and if you know anything about NFL locker rooms, that kind of turnover usually tells its own story. There was actually a recent incident during a live stream in the locker room that got heated enough for head coach Joe Brady to step in and defuse it. Naturally, that reignited all the old questions about Gardner-Johnson's temperament. For his part, he's pushed back hard, saying he's been unfairly labeled and that he's fully locked in on helping Buffalo win. So here's the real question for Bills fans. If Bishop keeps developing, Gardner-Johnson keeps his head on straight, and DJ Miller ends up outperforming expectations, could Buffalo suddenly be sitting on one of the best safety rooms in the entire AFC? It's not out of the question. Now let's shift over to the offensive side of the ball, because the receiver room just got a serious shakeup too. Even after landing DJ Moore earlier this offseason to give Josh Allen a legitimate WR1, the Bills clearly aren't satisfied with just standing pat. They've now brought in veteran wide receiver Dante Pettis after working him out alongside a couple of other free agents during training camp. To make room, Buffalo released receiver Jalen Virgil. Pettis is a former second-round pick of the San Francisco 49ers, and while he's never turned into a full-time starter across his 8 NFL seasons with stops at the 49ers, Giants, Bears, and Saints, he brings something that matters a lot in late summer roster battles: experience, versatility, and legitimate return ability. Across his career, Pettis has put up 92 receptions for 1,231 yards and 13 touchdowns. And last season with New Orleans, he was also handling punt and kickoff return duties. That's exactly the kind of Swiss Army knife role that can carve out a roster spot even when the depth chart looks crowded. And Pettis has a resume that goes back even further than his NFL career. At the University of Washington, he set the all-time NCAA record for punt return touchdowns with 9, and he walked away with All-American honors after racking up nearly 200 all-purpose yards and 11 touchdowns in college. That explosive playmaking ability is exactly what Buffalo is hoping resurfaces once camp heats up. But let's be real, the wide receiver room in Buffalo is absolutely stacked right now, and that means Pettis has very little room for error. Most projections have DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, and rookie Skyler Bell as the favorites to lock down roster spots. And speaking of Skyler Bell, this kid is generating some serious buzz. The fourth-round rookie comes into camp fresh off a dominant final season at UConn, where he caught 101 passes for 278 yards and 13 touchdowns, earning unanimous All-American honors along the way. His speed, his route running, and his ability to make defenders miss after the catch have already turned heads, and some analysts are calling him a potential steal of the entire 2026 draft class. With Josh Allen running the show and Joe Brady continuing to build out an explosive offensive system, every single practice rep matters right now. Pettis is fighting to prove he still belongs in this league, while Bell looks like he might force his way into significant playing time a lot sooner than anyone expected. Now here's the part of this story that's going to sting a little for Bills Mafia. Just as fans were wondering whether Buffalo would make one more splash at wide receiver, that door officially slammed shut. One of the biggest names left on the free agent market, Deebo Samuel, made his decision, and he's not coming to Buffalo. Instead, Samuel is heading back to where his NFL career started, agreeing to return to the San Francisco 49ers on a one-year deal reportedly worth up to $7 million. That comes right after his previous 3 years, $71.5 million contract wrapped up following a season with the Washington Commanders where he posted 72 catches for 727 yards and 5 touchdowns, plus another 75 yards and a score on the ground. Deebo remains one of the most dangerous multi-purpose weapons in the entire NFL, and plenty of analysts believed he could have been the missing piece in Joe Brady's offense. A guy who lines up all over the field and turns short passes into chunk plays. For a while, it really looked like Buffalo could be in the mix. But in the end, Samuel chose familiarity, choosing to run it back with the franchise that drafted him. And just like that, the speculation was over. So where does that leave the Bills? Even without landing Deebo, the front office isn't panicking. The Pettis signing adds a proven veteran with return skills to the receiver room, and Skyler Bell continues to look like one of the more electrifying young playmakers to watch this preseason. On defense, the addition of DJ Miller gives the secondary another developmental piece with real upside, even as Cole Bishop and C.J. Gardner-Johnson headline a group that could be one of the best safety tandems in the conference if everything clicks. Missing out on Deebo Samuel stings, no question about it, but Buffalo clearly believes the talent already in the building is enough to make a real championship push in 2026. So now it's your turn, Bills Mafia. Out of everything we just covered, which storyline do you think ends up mattering most by the time the season kicks off? Is DJ Miller going to be the breakout surprise nobody saw coming in Buffalo's secondary? Does Dante Pettis carve out a real role and give this offense extra juice? Or is missing out on Deebo Samuel a mistake that comes back to haunt this team later in the year? Drop your prediction in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss a Buffalo Bills update. I'll be back very soon with the next wave of Bills news. Until then, go Bills.